Imagine you and your friends are going to clean up a nearby garden. You observe that there are static substances whereas some shows movement. So you can see living and non-living things around. In this video, we will be dealing with the living things and their distinct characteristics and properties. All living things have life. First, let us frame the definition of life. Life can be defined as a system that articulates itself through chemical reactions and displays characteristics of living organisms. So there are two key terms here. One is the chemical reactions, that is, living organisms require energy to carry out daily activities. The next word is characteristics. All characteristics of living organisms ultimately defines life. So do you realize that all life forms are composed of cells? Yes, cells are the basic structural and functional unit of a living organism. As you know, living creatures can be classified into unicellular structures in which a single tiny cell is capable of doing basic functions, and multicellular structures. Here you can see structural complexity differs within each organism. Here we can understand that cells and cellular organizations are features of living organism. The next feature of living organisms we shall discuss is growth. Both living and non-living things grow, but the process is not the same. So growth can be defined as intrinsic growth for living organisms. Unicellular organisms such as amoeba, paramecium, and multicellular organisms grow by cell division. So you can see an internal growth in living organism. While in case of multicellular animals, growth is only visible up to a specific time of life. In case of plants, you can see a rapid cell division only in specialized areas. And in case of dead organisms, they do not grow and reproduce at all. Let us take the lake as an example. Observe the picture of an aerial view of a lake. You can see that the water from rivers, streams and even land run off to the lake, resulting in the expansion of lakes. Here, the growth is from outside. The growth can be defined as an extrinsic growth. Thus, the twin characteristics of growth are thus an increase in the mass and increase in the proportion of individuals. Growth and reproduction are not the defining properties of living organisms. Let us discuss. Reproduction is a process of producing offspring with features similar to those of the parents. So there are two types of reproduction. They are asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Now let's focus on a few organisms and their reproductive criteria. First is budding. So what is budding? It is a type of asexual reproduction is noted in yeast and hydra. Second, regeneration. It is a process observed in planaria. Next is a fragmentation method. It is visible in few fungi and algal types. Binary fission, which is a factor of reproduction as well as growth, is seen in amoeba. So you can say that reproduction is equated with growth in single-celled organism. That is an increase in cell count. On the other hand, non-living does not reproduce at all. There are numerous examples of organisms that do not reproduce, indicating that reproduction cannot be the defining characteristic of living organisms. The next characteristic of living organism is metabolism. How can we define the term metabolism? Metabolism is simply the sum total of chemical reactions occurring within a living organism. All microorganisms, animals, plants, and fungi exhibit metabolism. At the same time, you need to note that technological advancement has enabled us to demonstrate the reaction outside the body. Imagine you are walking on the road and suddenly you see a car moving in the wrong direction. And understanding that being hit by the car is dangerous is an example of consciousness. Being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings is termed as consciousness. So let me ask you a question. How do you know if you are fully conscious or not? Here is the answer. We sense stimulus through our sense organs. The stimuli can be physical, chemical, or biological. All animals, from prokaryotes to eukaryotes, are aware of environmental cues and they respond to these cues. Humans have self-consciousness as we have a more complex neural system and communication system. Even though a person has lost his self-consciousness, the individual is living. Living organisms also have the ability to self-replicate, self-organize, and interact with others. Meet my friend Camera Lens. I am sad I could not introduce Vinny Vidivishi to you. So I'll introduce them to you soon. So let's recap what we have learned.
Manorama Horizon. Learning made simple.